with the heaviest heart and deepest sorrow that, on behalf of the Government of Malaysia, we officially declare Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 an accident, and that all 239 of the passengers and crew on board MH370 are presumed to have lost their lives.
The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 on March 8, 2014 remains one of the biggest aviation mysteries in modern history. The aircraft, carrying 239 passengers and crew, disappeared from radar screens while en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Despite an extensive search effort, the wreckage of the aircraft has never been found, and the fate of those on board remains unknown. Today we investigate one of the biggest aviation mysteries of all time. The disappearance of the Malaysian Flight MH370. One of the most expensive and extensive searches ever launched, backed by multiple nations to find its debris, until it was finally recalled after 3 years of the incident. 9 years down the line, there are not much concrete answers regarding the disappearance.
Frustration and disappointment that I stand here and acknowledge that the underwater search area effort has been suspended.
The Boeing 777 was scheduled for a 6-hour flight from Kalulalampur Malaysia to Beijing China with 239 souls on board. Boeing 777, one of the most advanced commercial carriers in the world with top-notch safety features and a flight that has won the trusts of pilots throughout the world. Joining hands with Malaysian Airlines, one of the finest airline companies in the world. 38 minutes out into the flight, this massive 777 vanished into thin air without any trace. After the unfortunate incident, many theories have emerged regarding the disappearance, from government conspiracies to even aliens. Let's dive into the mysteries revolving around the flight MH370. On the unfortunate day of March 8, 2014, the MH370 took off from the Kuala Lumpur International Airport with 239 souls on board. Its destination, Beijing, China. It was captained by experienced 53-year-old Zahir Shah, co-piloted by relatively young Farouk Abdul Ahmed. The weather was clear that day, where the ATC commented not even a single cloud in the sky. 38 minutes into the journey, the flight disappeared from the ATC radar without any distress signs. An aircraft disappearing with distress signs can point towards engine failures or technical glitches. But a disappearance with no mayday calls, that's little suspicious. Generally, a commercial airliner of this size disappearing from the ATC radar can only happen by switching of its transponders. According to aviation experts, such an anomaly can be either an act of terrorism, hijack, intentional crew defect, or total system failure. Boeing 777 is a state-of-the-art machine with heavy communication system on board. It has more than 80 computer systems interlinked to carry out the functionalities, and sophisticated electronic system which can pinpoint this giant anywhere in the planet. These systems enabled the flight to be constantly connected with the ground and the satellites above. There are multiple satellites connection enablers like the ACARS system. So, an aircraft of such features suddenly disappearing from the ATC radars means all these communication systems were down due to technical faults or deliberately taken down. Hours into the mishap, Malaysian government agencies reached the last spotted radar point in the South China Sea, but there were no traces of wreckage. It was a disappointment until the Malaysian military radar spotted that the flight changed its course towards south of mainland Malaysia into the Andaman Sea, which was rather unusual. The flight maneuvers were found so calm and was not done in panic, which strengthened doubts of intentional defection. Post 9/11, it's common that if an airliner changes its course abruptly without any ATC consent, will be accompanied by fighter jets to escort to safety. Even though the military radars were seeing this abrupt change in flight path, the military did not interfere in the path. Some aviation analysts firmly believes that the Malaysian government has hidden hands behind the MH370 mishap. Also, the zone where the military radar lost the flight is a joining junction of 5 different airspaces, including Kuala Ho Chi Minh City, Jakarta, Madras, and Colombo. It flew right in between the Kuala Lumpur Tower and Ho Chi Minh City airspaces, making both the towers think that the flight is taken care by the other tower. If in an event of intentional diversion, this act has bought much time for the aircraft controllers to leave the mainland. The Malaysian police investigations revealed that 2 Iranians had boarded the MH370 with fake Italian passports. This soon linked the incident with terrorism. But later it was confirmed that these individuals were trying to cross into Germany as migrants. According to Malaysian military records, the plane flew for another hour and disappeared somewhere in the North Andaman Sea. The north of the Andaman Sea was combed by different government agencies, but disappointment was the result. There were no traces of any debris or wreckage, which was quite unusual for a flight as large as Boeing 777. Days into the incident, the next important information was captured by the Inmarsat satellites above the Indian Ocean. Every airborne flight constantly gives out signals to satellites out into space, which is nicknamed heartbeat signals. By analyzing these signals along with the fuel payload and change in frequency, analysts can obtain the course and direction of the flight. The heartbeat signals are sent every hour from the flight, and as per the signal analysis, the team has plotted 7 arcs across the Indian Ocean, where the MH370 can possibly go, confirming 7 confirmed handshakes with Inmarsat starting from 2:25 a.m. local time. There are no more handshakes beyond the 7th arcade, which is deep inside the southern Indian Ocean. And surprisingly, this reveals that the plane flew further south into the deep Indian Ocean into the jurisdictional water of Australia. This was so unusual for a commercial flight liner, and more government agencies including the Australian military joined the flight search. But this too resulted in huge disappointment. A computer simulation from the captain's personal computer revealed that Mr. Shah had plotted a travel path to south of Indian Ocean days before the incident. This is still a mystery to date why such simulation was made. 10 days into the search, a special international team was formed to study the missing along with Boeing officials. A 1,400 mile along the 7th arcade was marked for the search, which has ever recorded the largest search area for any plane in the aviation history. With aircraft calibrated with powerful sensors, the 7th arcade was combed day in and day out. Australia deployed 22 such aircrafts and 19 surface vessels. Ocean currents are so strong in this area that it can be very difficult to spot any debris. As per the Australian meteorological reports, 2 powerful storms have swept the search area after the incident. From the history of air crash investigations, there were multiple incidents where the aircraft was last spotted in one area, but the strong ocean currents has swept the debris miles apart. This makes the search even tougher. 2 weeks down the line, there were no debris spotted anywhere in the search area. This led to many speculations. Did the aircraft crash? Was it hijacked? Focus was shifted to the flight's data recorder or the black box recovery. In water, this black box sends out a ping that can travel over a mile. But detecting the sounds in deep water is also a struggle. AUVs or autonomous underwater vehicles were launched with this aim, but weeks later it was also called off as the data recorder box has batteries for only 30 days. More advanced sea research teams joined the session by bringing in seabed scanners. This is a very expensive way of search combing the seabed in the search area. It was reported that in search of the 370 the team ended up discovering shipwrecks of the past. Another notable study came from the Boeing itself. Assuming around the 7th arcade, the flight must have left with no fuel and would have glided into 200 miles around either side of the 7th arcade. But this search also ended up with nothing. A year down the line, another turning point in the search was found. A piece of suspected wreckage was discovered 3,000 miles on the other side of the Indian Ocean on the remote Reunion Island. The piece was identified as flap aileron of the Boeing 777. There is one on either wing of the 777. Boeing confirms that the serial number of the flapper is that of the 370, confirming as the first piece in the search so far. On identifying this flap aileron position, the Boeing team confirmed that the pilot was trying to land the plane either in the water and even that the plane ran out of fuel. Weeks later, 30 more debris was found from various islands of Indian Ocean. Most oceanographers believe this is carried to the other side of the Indian Ocean by strong ocean currents. As per the available public records till date, it is believed that the MH370 crash landed in the southern Indian Ocean and the strong ocean currents carried some of its debris to the African coast. But there are again many questions which still needs answers. Like, why did the plane abruptly change its course? Why did it again travel for several hours in uncharted paths? The computer stimulation in captain's personal computer. These mysteries will continue unless the flight wreckage is found and its data recorder is analyzed. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you like this content. It will be a great support for my future engagement.